Hello and welcome to Billion Dollar Managers program. When I envision this program, the whole idea was that we have an interactive community who is not only getting knowledge from each other but also getting profit from each other. When I start talking about it, a lot of people have suspicious. People were talking about that, how it's gonna work, what would be the value, what is platform all about. But then there were people who said, we believe in Asad and whatever he is doing, we are with them. So we have completed our phase one round where we had around 70 people on board. So I would call them founders. So this video is basically about the next stage where I am going to target the visionaries. First of all, a lot of people are asking that Asad, you have AUC Technologies, you have AUC Ventures, you are working as the president of Sayyid University Alumni Association, and now you are talking about billion dollar managers. How do you get all this time? How you manage everything? So the answer is, if you want a consistent growth, you need to balance your present and future. And if as a CEO, as an individual also, if you are not managing or balancing your organization growth or your individual growth, you will not be able to sustain and grow in a longer run. So if I am going to start with how I am managing this, how a company should be innovative, how an individual should contribute his time on his learning or growth, then I would say I'm going to start with the model or the framework that I learned from HBR article, Innovation Portfolio. Interestingly, during the time of COVID, when we were doing PMP, I got some savings. So instead of investing those savings in Barrier Town or any other plot or flat, I reinvested in a new idea, and that was actually program management course. Although I was doing program management certification training since 2012, but this time I did it with a different mindset. I wanted to help people to become CEO. Interestingly, my initial result was not as promising as it was supposed to be, but then I moved on. I invested a lot of time and in fact a lot of money to build the program management brand from a perspective of a CEO. But after 1 year, 1.5 years, I find out that somehow I am struggling in balancing giving time in project management courses, PMP and PGMP. That's where I was start getting knowledge and start searching for how can I balance. And then I read the article Innovation Portfolio from HBR. And it talks about it that when you look at your company needs to see how they are balancing against three different products or three different areas or horizons. One is your core. So my core, if I talk about my core business was PMP, project management training, and corporate consulting and corporate coaching. So I do trainings. But then I need to build my adjacent market. And interestingly, I was doing bits and pieces, and that was my adjacent market. And one of my adjacent product was PDUs. But then when I understood the whole concept, I did it deliberately that how can I start and focus on PGMP trainings and PGMP workshops. But then still I got to know that I need to invest time on something we call transformational. Transformational are the areas where you are investing truly in your future and you don't know how much you are going to get and how many ideas you are going to get successful. So right now, one of my business that I am working on in this area is AUC Venture. And in AUC Venture, I am launching technology courses based on Microsoft, where I'm talking about artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, power platforms. But at the same time, I'm working with universities, especially Syed University and Hamdard University, that how can we build a framework or a model for commercialization of final year projects. So you can say this is another project or another program you would say I'm working on. But at the same time, I need to work on a community platform, that how can I build a project management community. So I wanted to build AI based community. So I thought out that how can I use and leverage the data, the knowledge, the skill, the experience of my people who are working in the real world, and they have knowledge or experience of existing information, existing technologies, existing problems, existing solutions. So this is my billion-dollar manager program, which is going to be eventually based on AI. So you see, this is how I am balancing right now my business: core, adjacent, and transformation. But when companies wants to grow, somehow they don't know how much time or how much investment they should make into it. So Nagi gave a formula that if you are working in a traditional company, you should talk about 70% investment in your core, 20% investment in your adjacent, and 10% investment in your transformational services or transformational projects. But when I think about my company, I find out that this 70-20-10 is not right for me. So I redid the whole thing and find out that I need to invest 40, 40, and 20. Maybe your company, maybe your job needs a different configuration, but this is how the whole thing works. In fact, recently PMI made his own strategy, and in that strategy they also talk about 70-20 and 10. So that's very interesting if you want to go and see how PMI is positioning themselves for next 5 to 10 years. So if you are thinking about yourself that I'm not a company, I'm an individual, then you see what kind of skills you have, what kind of expertise you have, and how you are building new set of skills, new set of experiences. Everybody is talking about AI, cloud, cybersecurity, digital leadership. So where do you stand? So you may be good in your functional area, be in project management, finance, IT, supply chain, procurement, whatever it is. But then you need to think about what is your adjacent skills, what is your adjacent competencies, and what would be your transformational expertise or skills that you need to build about it. So if I look at the companies, so here if company talks about their core, right, and we say that generally they need to target 70% investment in their customer base or core business. So how much business investment they are doing? So one research says that ideally they are doing around 85% of investment in their current core businesses. Right now everybody is talking about digital transformation, but if you closely look at digital transformation, they are all about how to refine or redefine their existing business. It's not about building a new business. So 70% is the target. If I look at the adjacent business, I would say adjacent is about 20%, and same transformative is going to be 10%. So now you need to see how much investment your company is making in these areas. So let's suppose 85 is in core, probably 10% is in adjacent, or maybe 5% in transformative. Or I have seen companies, they don't have any transformative project. They talk about it, they don't talk about it, they talk about innovation, but mostly they talk about sustaining innovation. They don't have any new product, new business, new transformative business. And unfortunately, when they go for diversification, it's all about that building or starting a new business which somebody else is doing. It's not about building something that nobody is doing or nobody in your industry is doing. It's more about somebody else is doing, somebody else is getting profit, let's do it again. So that's not transformative, that is diversification. So we need to see what is our stock of projects, what is our future, how we are comparing with others in terms of core, adjacent and transformation, and how we are going to invest in year 1, year 2, year 3, and this investment should decrease from core like 85% to 75%, probably 65%, 55%, and it increase in adjacent and transformative. Depends upon your industry, depends upon your organization. Now, as I am using this model for my company, so one of my project, one of my new business is AI based project management community, which I'm talking about as billion-dollar managers. So when you build a community, when you build a technology related project, it's not like that you build it and everybody is going to buy it, everybody is going to join it. So in this way, I would recommend you to read a book called Crossing the Chasm. In this book, the author talks about that whenever you launch something, you have only 2.5% people, or you can call them technology enthusiasts, or you can call them innovators. They are the ones who are actually going to buy from you. Even though you have just an idea, even though your product is not up to the mark, but they want to experience firsthand. Then the next round of the people is basically the ones who are going to be innovators, right? Or you can say they are going to be visionaries. So visionaries are around 13.5% of the market, and they are going to be the big thing. But then from visionaries to early adopters, and somebody was talking about them as pragmatists, right? So they are the ones who are going to use your product, and you can say this is where your product is going to the mainstream. So this is your 34%, which is called early adopters or early majority, and then we have another 34% where we have late majority. So these are the people who are going to join your product on the late. And finally, we have around 16% laggards, or you can say 16% people who have skepticism about your product. So in this whole model, we have already done this part. We have already done, and we have around 70 first level investors who invested with us. I call them founders. Now the next stage which is I'm going to kick off today, is going to target my visionaries. They are the ones who are going to join, and they are the ones who will work on this thing. So we are in a process of setting up equity. That equity will be, let's suppose, not sure, but just for the sake of example, so let's suppose 10% of the overall platform equity will be shared between these 70 investors. Next 10% will be given to the visionaries, or you can say the early adopters. So here, this is what we are going to do. So this is how you move on. And then the biggest jump would be that how we are crossing the chasm. This gap is the biggest one, right? And we need to see that how our product is being pitched to the mass majority and the higher number of people. So how many people do we have? What is our market size? If I look at PMI, there are around 1.4 million project managers worldwide in PMI. If I talk about Excelos, which provides Prince 2 and other certification, they have around 1 million certified professionals. If I talk about Agile, especially Scrum Alliance, and I look at their number, it's again 1 million. So roughly 3.4 million. But I would say there will be a lot of people, a lot of professionals who have done both. So I would say around 2 million. So 2 million are people who want to be part of, or who should be, or who are our target customers. And if we want to dominate the world at a global level, what should be our target? So if total customers are, say, 2 million professionals, so we should be able to get 60% of them at our platform. This is our target. This is how we are working together. And if you are going to see the valuation of a digital company, if you are going to see the valuation of a digital product, It's not about how good your technology is, how many servers, how many offices you have. It's about how many subscribers you have, how many users you have on your product or your platform. And I'm not building this platform only for me. I'm building this platform for us. I'm giving a pool of equity to the people who are investing and joining us. So now I am officially starting the second stage. It's where I'm looking for this. This is my early majority. These are my visionaries. We have done with our founders. Now we are into this stage. And then finally, after the end of this second round of investment from individuals, we will go to the final round where we will be looking for early majority. It's your choice that where you want to come in. Do you want to come in now as a visionary, or you want to join as a member? Choice is yours, life is yours, decision is yours. Thank you.